Oh, yeah. Not sure it was. I need new cows. Running the stream dropped me down to third. Hello. Uh, that is weird. I need a second here. My local version of chat isn't working. There we go. That looks better. Yeah, I figured there were so many questions about what the heck happened today, and had someone else message me privately that they noticed I was playing 1.18, which I guess they really like, and I figured now that I've gotten a chance to catch up on some of my rest, I'd play a little bit, let people watch if they want, and see if if anybody had anything they wanted or talk about or whatever. Yeah, I'm still getting used to it. This is actually our second seed for this. Thanks. The first time I let the server make its own seed, and it was oops all jungle, and friends of mine weren't overly thrilled with it. Jungle is a pretty hard seed to work with, especially if you're trying to do building and stuff. So went through one of those online guides that suggest seeds for different things, and there's a lot of stuff near spawn that people liked for this one. Yeah, I wanted to build my base out of a temple of some sort, either a forest temple or a jungle temple. Ooh. Marking those so I can come back later once I have the tools to harvest. Um, so I kind of had to go out of the way on this seed to find it. Holy crap, another beehive? Oh, I'm just racking these up today. The last thing I did last time I was playing this was I finally got my enchanting table. But I only have one bookcase, so I need cows. And I don't know where they're all hiding. I've got an insane amount of copper, and I've only come across like 3 veins of diamonds, which is kind of annoying, but if you're just trying to get the honey, when the the visual texture change is the holes where the bees would come in and out change from dark brown to light brown, kind of a honey color, and the sorry, it'll actually start having dripping particles. From my understanding, oh, hi. I'm gonna ignore that for the time being. I am gonna mark that. Anyway, yeah, so you can use a glass bottle to collect the honey, or if you want to get the whole hive, you can use Silk Touch. I can't remember. I think any Silk Touch will do it, but you're better off doing it at night, or else you will aggro the bees. Yeah, those towers are a fun little fight, but I have marked 5 of those now. I don't think I need any more beehives. But yeah, if you use Silk Touch on them at night when all the bees are in the hive and asleep, you can harvest it to put it up somewhere else, and because none of them are outside of the hive, they won't attack you. Woohoo! Come back and work on that later. There's my cows. I knew if I wandered far enough, I'd find them. Yeah, bees are relatively new for me. I was running a world off of 117 for a while, and that's when I did my experimentation to, and research figuring that out. I don't want to accidentally hit the bee. I need a lot more leather. Uh, Usually, I mean, when it comes to building stuff, I'm not super creative. Usually I build, blocky structures above ground. Um, oh, oh, that's mildly awkward. And then do a splunking mining style. This go around, the first temple that I found was a partially buried one. So I excavated it, but it's in the opening to a giant cave system / ravine. So this time I got a bit of both. Not on this seed. And I think that's because I set up my base over desert. Uh, I have, when we were on the other seed, I was right over a huge lush cave system, and yeah, it was beautiful. Um, yeah, I snapped a few pictures floating around somewhere on my computer. Uh, if I understand right, they only spawn under jungles. So where I'm now based out of desert, I haven't wandered far enough to get into one of those cave systems yet. There is an absolute lack of cows out here. There's a small herd. That is 4. That's okay. We're actually making some pretty good progress. Yeah, I'm definitely enjoying the wider variety with the new world gen and everything. Where oh yeah, when you're at least under the desert, um when I get deep enough, there are still some huge um caves, like in the deep slate region, which is basically below Y0 in the new area. And they actually made it so that, you know, it's like this huge open area, but there's pillars of deep slate holding up the cave ceilings, which is really neat looking. Coffee shop. I like that idea. Yeah, my play style tends to be I find a cave. I find a cave. I start mining, you know, what I can see in there, and then when my inventory is full, I just I mark it, dig straight up, then go back to my base. I don't really want to fight y'all right now, especially not with all these creepers around. I really wish I could turn off the creeper explosion damage. I don't mind the explosions, but I don't like how they destroy the landscape. And they have a game rule to allow that, but it also interferes with villager breeding. Because for some reason they coded it so that if that option is turned on, villagers can't pick up the bread that they need for breeding. Ah, a little noisy down here. Oh. I have a super smelter. Yeah, I suspect there's something like mod related that could be done to fix that, but yep, yep. I was able to once I realized where the temple was. I think I cleared off enough to get in through the top, and then started clearing out the entrances. Oh yeah, paper. Duh. Uh, yeah, I guess I should go. Yeah, later. Don't tell anyone, but I cheated a little bit. There's a console command to find nearby structures. Hmm. Oh, you're really trying to force this, huh? Okay, fine then. See, okay, yep. Yeah, this is Java. Um, I have a Bedrock version, but I don't remember what the login is for it. Yeah, and yet surprisingly, I haven't played mods since quite a while because the people that I run the server for, we never agree on what kind of gameplay we want. But yes, kind of. I mean, not much to look at from here, but enough of it was exposed that when I looked down in the cave, I could see, you know, everything here is stone, and then there was this bit of. Um, this server is multiplayer, but it's currently set up for a whitelist. A few of my personal friends have access, but after the first night or two, I haven't seen anyone on, but I don't know if They just have been on at different times as me. My schedule this last week has been completely screwed up. Originally, today was going to be my day to try to fix my sleep cycle, but court. Yeah, I haven't... Oh, no, that's why. I did go on to a quasi-public server once a while back, but I didn't really do anything. It was such a well-laid-out server with game modes and everything that I had trouble figuring out what to do. No, it's... you're fine. Honestly, there was a part of the back of my brain that knew that one of the civil trials was coming up before sentencing, but I didn't fully process that. And last night I was making a list of the cases that I wanted to try to focus on after Friday, and very top of the list was these cases, so... Actually, things went really well for me. When you told me, you caught me just as I was getting ready to go to sleep. So at least it wasn't like somebody woke me up to tell me it. I had the perfect amount of time to get my stuff ready, get to the bus, and I waited like 2 minutes for the bus. 3 minutes for my connecting train. Got right through security. Almost went home without seeing the trial because one of the court staff, they saw the same thing I did in the docket, which gave a suggestion that the case was over. So Judge Dolan is normally in courtroom 15B, so I go up there to, I'm just going to talk to the clerk. Yeah, that's one good thing about where exactly I live. I'm pretty close to several transit lines, and one of the ones that's more focused on rush hour was running at the time because it was 7:30 in the morning. So yeah, I get to 15B, Judge Dolan's courtroom. There's a sign up saying that observation was going to be in conference room 2A. No indication where that is, but it was a good guess it was on the second floor. I go down there, and there's a sign like, if there's only, for social distancing, there can only be 5 people in there, and if more room is needed, to contact administration. Well, the door's locked, and I can't tell if these were just signs that were put up yesterday, were no longer needed, but were never taken down. So I try to call administration, which is basically, they just said, call the courthouse and talk to someone. And they're like, we don't know anything. You need to talk to the judge's clerk. Okay, do you have their number? Yeah, here it is. And I call, and that's when I find out that, no, they were dealing with jury selection stuff, and the trial had not started. So, yeah, I was... they said to call at court administrator, but the number they gave was literally just the courthouse switchboard. um, so sure enough, I ended up at the right place at the right time, and it was a very interesting show. Um, I know that there were suggestions that this was, something that he knew absolutely nothing about, and I can't call shenanigans because yeah, I can't call shenanigans on it because, from my understanding, he was served in the court or in jail after he had been arrested. And there was the filing in August where he basically was asking to have the civil trial set over, but then nothing else happened. And while I can understand that he's got a lot of stuff going on, that he may not have remembered that this was going today, it's still his job to keep court dates in mind. And yeah, I think the jail already had his transportation scheduled for yesterday, and he just didn't realize it was yesterday, which is why he had that whole 5 o'clock wake up and drug out of his cell thing. Yeah, and he's still gonna have 2 more of these to deal with. One had a stay put on it that expires like December 28th, so chances are by the end of the year they'll start making moves for setting a trial there. Yeah, I have a distinct feeling his group doesn't care about, the rules are made for other people, is kind of the impression that I got. And they were all in the observation room. It was me and 3 people from his supporters, and 2 of them weren't wearing masks at all in the room. And yeah, I can almost guarantee that they were live streaming the TV screen that we were all watching, which you're not allowed to do without permission from the court. Actually, we did end up talking briefly, and we found out that they were actually there before me, and at least one of them was apparently sitting in the conference room with the lights off, and just when I tried to get in, the door wouldn't open for me. I guess staff hadn't unlocked it yet. Yeah, Yeah, I don't know his full story, but though it was his wife that was apparently in the room, but yeah, yeah, his wife Susan was in the room waiting, and I did hear Alan say to the judge, because they were trying to figure out where his witnesses slash evidence gatherers were, and he was saying that Radek was a volunteer Multnomah County deputy at the time, which I'm not fully sure what that means. I'm not used to the idea of volunteer deputies. Um, so yeah, they went up to courtroom 15 to try to get all the information to him. I'm sitting in observation while Alan is talking to the judge. Yeah, I don't know. I have a bit of a curiosity about that, but I haven't gone digging. Oh, yeah, here's a bit of a look. We're talking about the underground caves with the pillars that they have to support the cave ceilings, which I thought was a really neat touch. Um, but yeah, so they go up to 15 to try to get to the courtroom, and they're like just gonna try to barge into the courtroom, which I'm like, that's probably not gonna work, but you go ahead and try. I'm sitting there watching the the live stream, and the judge like talks at us saying, if they're in the observation room to come up to 11th floor. Well, they're already gone, but when they come back down because they couldn't figure out where the judge was, yeah, as soon as the door opened, I'm like, he's on 11A and they're looking for you. Yeah, it got a little interesting. The Meg's attorney low key suggested that they were giving him legal advice, um, because Alan wanted to be able to talk to them off the record for like 5 minutes, because whatever they provided for him was going to drive his decision if he wanted to go through with the trial or if he was going to just take the settlement. But yeah, the judge gave him 5-10 minutes, because the settlement offer was only going to be on the table until jury selection started. And it came back and said, no, I'm going to take the settlement, which I suspect tells me whatever dirt they were trying to dig up wasn't that helpful. I mean, I will admit, I mean, that is a downside with civil law. You know, even if you have someone that is relatively intelligent, and I don't know enough about him to know, stuff about that, but even if you have someone that knows what they're talking about, when you get into legal stuff, it's very easy to get over your head, especially when one person has a lawyer and the other person doesn't. And that's exactly what happened here. You know, our system only guarantees you a public defender for criminal cases. Yeah, originally when he was served the suit, he still had I am blanking the guy's first name now, but Wolf from Oliveros Law Group. They were going to represent him in all the criminal and civil cases, but they ended up pulling out, and you know, nothing was ever publicly stated. But I think it was an issue with how bad his team was doing. Um, I saw Wolf in 2 different court cases, and I was not impressed with him in either one. Eric, yeah, there we go. My brain kept going to Chad, but that was the acting head of DHS at the time. And honestly, I think that's the only reason I can remember Wolf is because, you know, we had 2 wolves that we were dealing with back then. Ooh, more diamonds. Yeah, I mean, when I sat in, like, the first or second hearing that I sat in on for Alan was a bail reduction motion, and his attorney came in with not even the barest information about proof of his finances to suggest why the bail was excessively high. The judge chewed him out badly on that, and he actually apologized to Alan on the record for messing up that bad, and that's part of why when he ended up getting public defender, why Westover tried to go at it again, even though none of the judges wanted to have that. Yep, that bail. I suspect that if they had done things right, there would have been a bail reduction. I don't know that it would have been small enough that he could have gotten pretrial release, though. I think the state would have made a very strong public interest argument. A few too many zeros, but that's actually pretty close. It was, what was it, 524,000? Of which he only had to come up with 10% in cash, so 54,000. And that's fine. I mean, on my way home, I managed to stop at the liquor store and get drinks for Friday, because this is the end of a chapter, and it seems like a good time for me to relax. And I'm out of wood. I do not like being out of wood. And, you know, it's actually possible he could have raised it. What chapter? Oh, this case has been, while it's not the kind of stuff that I envisioned working on covering, this case has been kind of the big thing for me, because it's the kind of thing that the people that watch me have been more interested in. Yeah, his criminal case, because we have sentencing Friday, and unless they file an appeal or until he's up for parole, it's going to be the last of any legal stuff until he's possibly out of jail. And there are still the 2 civil cases. One of them, I don't know how long it's going to be on hold for. There was a stay done on it, but I haven't seen any indication on how long. And that case is a lot more complex because it's 4 victims suing Alan and 2 other people, and that's going to be a much more complicated case. Sorry, I missed. You thought what would be bigger? Oh, I mean, it might have been. Like I said, I have every expectation that his supporters were, that the people who were there were live streaming the hearing. So, I fully expect that there were other people that were watching, even if they weren't at the courthouse. And when I've been talking with Judge Moad's staff about Friday, they've already said they're going to open up the observation rooms like they did for the trial. So they're expecting multiple people as well. But this was, in comparison to the criminal trial, this was small fries. This was, middle of the week. If Alan didn't realize it was today, then maybe nobody else realized until, he got yanked out of his cell. Oh, wait, there it is. And I do suspect that he's probably lost some of his fan club. The ones that are left are going to be the more hardcore ones where, I don't necessarily like making the comparison, but what we see from some of the January 6th cases. It would not have surprised me if, had he not been arrested and not in jail when it happened, that he would have ended up either in Salem or in Washington, D.C. on January 6th. Yeah, I don't, yeah, I'm just, I'm speaking purely hypothetical on this because, he was already in jail for the election. So I haven't, had like social media stuff to see from him suggesting how he would have responded to it. But given how his contemporaries have been acting, I suspect he would have been one of those saying the election was stolen, gone to all the Stop the Steal protests, and there was a pretty decent contingent that showed up in in Salem too, and in December and January, and I think he might have gotten caught up in that too. That's one of the other sets of cases. Oh, that I actually need to throw that name on here really quick. Chandler Pappas is another person that he is an Oregon native, but he's been at a lot of stuff in Clackamas, and he's got some charges pending in from the Capitol House attempted invasion in December 2020, which, after J6 happened, a lot of people were like, yeah, Oregon was the practice session for January 6th. Yeah, he got released. He spent some time in Arizona, and then last I heard he had come back, but I haven't had the energy to focus a lot on that, which is what I'm trying to get towards doing now. And kind of not necessarily a New Year's resolution, but I'm trying to find a way that I can structure my life to be able to work within my limits, because I keep burning myself out. Yeah, I've had odd feelings about it, and yeah, especially with how many of the people involved with this stuff were supposedly ex-military. I was, military myself. I wasn't a combat vet, but I still, seem to have a better idea of if you're going to attack a building, everybody rushing the front door is probably not the best way to do it. I was actually one of those people that my job was literally to work in a cushy lab. I did repair work, so I worked on the stuff that went on the jets to shoot things. This one. You were talking about a lot of copper. I was Air Force 2000 to 2005. I had actually, I had just finished my technical training, and I was on leave before going to Japan when 9/11 happened. That was crazy day. My dad and one of the last times we got along were out camping, and it was our last day. We were getting ready to pack up, and my dad's like, "Let's put some music on." There was no music that day. Yeah, there's still a lot of stuff that I don't remember from back then just because of how long ago it was. But yeah, my parents were living in St. Louis at the time. I had never been there because I grew up in Pennsylvania, and my whole family moved away from town like literally the day after I graduated. Um, so I didn't know what the skyline was normally like, but yeah, my dad commented because St. Louis is a pretty busy airport, and we saw one helicopter, and that was it. Um, I was seeing the news. I was on some chat room talking to people, and I remember I was trying to point out that, while with all the people like saying that air travel was no longer safe anymore, I remember pointing out, and maybe it was callous at the time, but that when a plane crash happens, it's a thing where, everyone is most likely dead, but it's also so rare that it's many times more likely you're going to die in a car crash than in a plane crash. And it ended up, I was originally supposed to fly to Japan like on the 13th of September or something like that. Um, but they had to redirect the contract planes that were transporting military people, and the people that were actually flying on September 11th ended up getting held over in Honolulu for a week. So I ended up getting held over for a week until the contract plane was, or the schedule was sorted out. I remember EverQuest. I never played it, but I had some friends that did when, it was in its decline days, but Yeah, a little while after that, um, I discovered, yeah, 'cause I've always been a more technical type person, but I discovered Anarchy Online, which was, yeah, MMO like EverQuest, but it was a sci-fi dystopian one, and I remember playing that quite a bit, but I never really got into the multiplayer mechanic to it. I was also playing Perfect World for a while, but that was like years later. Thud. Knew that was coming. It's actually still around. My aide, I remember, was like a year ago. I saw them playing it. I'm like, how does that game still exist? It's older than, or it's like as old as you are. Oh wow. Oh. Oh, hey, I mean, you found something that worked for both of you. That's that's a really great thing. Yay, more copper. Oh, that's right. One of the tweaks they did in 118 is, I guess most people have trouble finding copper, so it now drops more copper than it used to. I never had a problem finding it. It has no use other than a decorative block for me. Yay! Lots of messages. You've done a lot of typing today. Yeah, 2002, I was literally figuring out who I was. Oh yeah, in my 117 world, was I actually built this really nice uh like observatory quasi mages base thing where I had blackstone, or sorry, deep slate cobblestone interspersed with copper for the main building, and then this really high tower where I had the bed and it was all glass and copper. Which is part of where I ended up learning so much about bees, because you need beeswax that you can get from the hives to keep the copper from turning green. And I was trying to do that, but I ended up beating the dragon solo, and nobody else was really actively playing, so I ended up wandering off and I was working on other games. Don't I keep this? Actually, do I? Oh. Oh. Okay, well, I don't know where it is up there, so I'm not going to try to catch that source. Yeah, if you wax the copper, it stops its oxidation at whatever stage it's at, so you can use that to get different variations. And since I was building in the middle of a jungle, I was able to... Oh. That's why it's way up there. Because I was building in the middle of a jungle, I put vines on it to try to make it look like a ruin of, like, some ancient alchemist or something, and... I'm normally not good at decorative builds, but I was really proud of that one. Yeah, there's a few that have been spooking me here tonight. Luckily, since I got the enchanting table now, all of my armor has had pretty decent upgrades. This iron up here. Yeah, I have a problem where I can envision really nice stuff in my head, but I can't really make it in reality. I tend to do best if I take something that's already been created and edit it to fit what I'm trying to do. Yeah, I've done a lot of stuff with port type cities. One of the things I usually end up doing is like transportation hubs. I'm just gonna jump up through here. Like, I've been mapping out some of these ruined portals, and later on I'm gonna go through and once I get more supplies, start building a rail system to connect them to make moving around the world faster, since if people know where they want to go, they can just jump into one of the ruined portals, take a train, and come out closer where they want to be. God, it's all the way up there. Not a full subway. Kind of closer to an Amtrak. Now I gotcha. Oh, that's not good. Yeah. I was hoping I could do that in time, but nope. I forgot to mark where I was. When I got that rig set up, I had just shy of a full double chest of copper. Got stacks and stacks. I've got more coal for you. But that should be my next project, is go ahead and do the auto feed. Yeah, that's been a problem for me too. I mean, so far, um, 3, 4, 5. I found 13 in this whole game, and actually, none of them have been from chests so far, at least. I did get lucky last night. I found a nice vein of like 6 diamonds, which was really unusual, but ooh. Oh, I like you. Yeah, 4 is just enough to get an iron pick or diamond pickaxe at least. Yeah, that's honestly usually what I end up doing. um, when I'm working with other people. Yeah, I usually end up having my own little base, but I'll just go out digging for resources, and it's like, as long as you're not taking everything I have, if you need something and it's in a chest, just grab it. This is gonna be forever. Like, how bad are they? Oh, good. These are almost done. Yeah, we've had that issue with this server. Um, some people aren't set up enough to be able to go and survive throughout the night, and it's like, we need to sleep. I'm like, I'm nowhere near a bed. Yeah, that's an upside to me being the only person on the server right now. No, it was just a case of finding the wool and stuff to get the first beds, or not having the base set up. The people that I've been playing with, I mean, I've been playing with them for on Minecraft for a number of years now, and they were all playing long before that, so. We do this. Oh, okay, so affectionate noob. That's fair. How do I do this? Signs. I have an idea of what I want to make, but I don't yet know how I want to do it. Oh, well, that's convenient. This is at Y0. I mean, for this, I actually run the server on one of my personal servers, and it's just everyone connects to it, and it just it feeds the data back and forth, like EverQuest does. Soul sand. I do not have soul sand. This is Not an area known for soul sand. Forget if you... Oh, that's right, I've got gold pants on. So they're not going to come after me anyway. Oh? No, there's no reason for me to go down there. Oh. Yeah, it's not... You know, when I started doing this, it wasn't what I intended to focus on, but... It got close enough that... Oh... I mean, I'll still have stuff to work on. It won't be as interesting as what we've been working on, but... Yeah, I still have my goal to try to help people get a better understanding of the legal system, as well as... Oh, nice. Trying to document and... Oh, hello. What are you? Yeah, I don't know. It's been surprisingly silent lately. I don't know what she's doing. I've never seen... Yes, the floor is very much lava. Oh my. And obviously Alan is not the father. Kids and I don't really get along. I don't know how to handle them until they're old enough that I can have logical conversations with them. Well, that maybe that I think probably also explains why he was looking at living on Dixie's property. Yeah, at the time, my focus, my focus had been more on the police actions than the, uh, so much than the Back to Blue protests. Yeah, and by the time, you know what? Actually, also when I think about it, timeline-wise, when the assaults happened, that was also right after my assault. So I was also kind of, processing my own stuff. How do I pick these? Ah, cool. I can't. I saw a really neat lantern idea done with these. Yeah, it was intense for me. I mean, I won't say that, that objectively what I went through was worse than other people, but for me it was pretty bad. When I knew that, because I was out there as a visibly documented member of press, I knew I had legal rights and protections to be there, and that did not seem to matter one bit. Why are you... Okay. So you guys do sometimes attack. Good to know. Oh wait, you're the kid anyway. But yeah, I was live streaming a protest. Yeah, it's been declared unlawful, and the way that cops were doing it at the time, they gave a ton of warnings, and then they would do a push to disperse the crowd. So, yeah. Yes, finally found it. I could never actually tell when, when was you're ordered to disperse and when is you're dispersing. My gear was set up. I was live streaming, and it was hooked onto my walker. All of a sudden I hear people yelling and realize this isn't the yelling at police, this is the yelling in dispersal. Look up from my phone just in time to see a cop come around the corner yelling at me to move, and I'm like, I have a right to be here. I'm at press. I've got a helmet that says press on it, I've got my press pass, I've got the camera, and the guy grabs my walker and pulls it away from where it wasn't blocking anything or hurting anyone. And I went to grab at it because I need it when I'm out in public, and overcompensated, fell right on my face. 0 out of 10, would not recommend. But yeah, the cops do not have a good track record when it comes to dealing with disabled people either. It's the main reason why we have that DOJ settlement looming over our heads. is because they shot a person in mental health distress instead of helping him. Yeah, I need to touch base with my lawyer, figure out where we are with getting the paperwork set up. We've had some talks, you know, laid out all the story information, and they wanted to file at the same time as another disability-related claim, and I'm not sure where we're at with that, and I've just been, you know, needing to remember to reach out, and maybe I'll get a chance to do that tomorrow. I've got some other phone calls I need to make anyway. Let's see. Yeah, originally I wanted to document or track all of the protest related arrests, and that ended up being, you know, at the time I thought it was only going to be like a few weeks that we'd be having the protests, and yep, piglins. But yeah, I mean, I got a list of the case numbers from the DA's office a year ago, and it was over 800 cases. And it's... Yeah, my first time out there was probably about a week after the protests started. I was watching them from home, and eventually, after I started seeing other journalists getting attacked by the police, I was like, that was something that struck a really deep nerve for me. And I ended up figuring out a way that I felt like I could use my disabilities as an advantage to try to help document what was going on. And that plan didn't work out quite the way that I envisioned it, but it opened doors to other things that I think have had promise to be better. I've always seemed to have a good brain for dealing with government bureaucracy. I used to do freelance work with like tax prep stuff because I could actually understand tax forms where people get super confused, and I've helped other people navigate court forms, so I already had some familiarity. There's another YouTube channel that I watch pretty regularly that he's a copyright attorney, but does similar stuff to the kind of stuff that I do, except he's focused on copyright law and interesting court cases going on, like on the East Coast mainly, but yeah, it's a case of finding a place where you can try to find that niche. I did not plan this part out right. I don't know if I have enough blocks. I might have to use wood. Oh god. Oh, it was dangerous. Thank you. Yeah, that was low-key terrifying. Nerd pull with wood while fire is getting thrown at you. Think that one through. Oh, there went my tree. And that's all stone. See, I don't know how I made it. I mean, luckily, I also have the rule turned on to keep inventory, so even if I had died, I still would have had my stuff, but... Woo! So much copper. I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to use all this copper for. I don't have a building plan for copper. Man, I've got enough copper blocks to build a base. Hmm. Should have everything I need for it. There you are. That's what that recipe was. I did in my other world. I haven't made one here because I'm underground, so it's not really something that I can even make use of. Don't know if I can do them. Might be able to do them underneath. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I was looking for. Um, Lightning rods are supposed to, if you use them, uh, or if they're set up during a lightning storm, they will attract lightning bolts instead of hitting randomly. So you can use them like to help prevent forest fires, or because they still hit a small area if you're trying to do something with a creature that lightning can change. Like if lightning strikes a creeper, it'll supercharge them. So if you can say trap a creeper in a pen with a lightning rod and then wait for a thunderstorm. One of the other things they also do if you're building with copper is lightning strikes will deoxidize some nearby copper. So you can use the lightning rod to help direct that towards copper structures, which is what I did when I built that observatory before. Oh, I don't have any saplings anymore. Yay, daytime. I really need to build stairs in and out of here. Or I might just build a water elevator. Yeah, I found a tool online where you can like tell if you want to make a particular shape of a certain size. Like I told it I wanted to make a sphere that was like 13 blocks in width, and it gave me layer by layer directions on how to lay out all the blocks I needed for it. So I was able to make, you know, as perfect a sphere as you can make in Minecraft, but and it was all glass except on the cardinal directions in the middle, there was a copper band coming up from bottom to top, and then the middle layer was a copper ring. And it just, I was really happy with how it came out. Yeah, because it was high enough up, and I had a pretty good render distance set that I could look out and see a huge chunk of land. I do need to dig around and figure out. I have at least one copy of Bedrock, maybe two, but I can't figure out what Microsoft account it's under. And I really need to figure that out and maybe actually play Bedrock. So I know some other people that have it on PlayStation that have expressed interest in running a world that I host. I actually got lucky. I mean, I've done computer stuff for years, and I've had my own server for quite a while, but it was just built out of an old computer. And I had gotten a...
I don't know that.
Cancel. I had gotten an old desktop. Or, I mean, I'd gotten... Sorry. My Alexa confused me for a second. I had gotten a back check from a disability claim a couple months before the pandemic started, and I had used some of that to buy a refurbished server, like from a server rack. Got the wrong size for what I needed, and basically convinced the seller to sell me the right one at a bit of a reduced price, so I got really good computer hardware for like $600, and definitely put me in a position.
Something I found on the web. According to enworld.org, the Core 2 processors are a lot faster than those things.
Computer.
And you can pick up a Core 2.
Stop. I really need to learn to mute this thing when I'm yammering. I've always been a computer nerd, and that's part of how I ended up doing what I was doing in the military. And that's perfectly fine. You know what? Actually, let's do... Yeah, let me make a note here. I know exactly what I want to do for this. I'm going to do the... I'm going to do those water elevators to get in and out. I'm honestly a little surprised because it's almost midnight here, so I figure it's like 2, 3 a.m. where you're at. No, get away from me, creeper. Well, at least they didn't take out the tree this time. Aw. Yeah, after I did my live stream this afternoon, I laid down, watched a little bit of streaming, then went to sleep and woke up, answered a couple of questions about what happened, and was like, you know what, I should just jump on and... Ah! I've heard of that game, but I don't know anything about it. Let's see. 70. 1566. Oh. Oh, this is not really an ideal spot. We'll still have to do more work. Yeah, you did mention that this morning. I still have not had any actual caffeine. I got a burger and a milkshake on the way home, but... Yeah, that was my guess. I wasn't... Yeah, I don't have time zones memorized, but I thought you were 2 hours off from us. Yeah, I've been hearing conflicting forecasts that, like, this whole week is supposed to be nasty, but then at the same time, I guess tomorrow is not going to be totally bad. Sounds a little warm for December in Texas, but I'm not sure. Joys of climate change. That's going to be a conundrum. I screwed up. I know what I did wrong. Yeah, I was technically born in California, but raised in Pennsylvania. Then when I got out of the military, I was in Idaho for a number of years. Oh, the water elevator I want to make, I built it one block too close to the base I need. Well, no, I can still make this work. I think. No, I can't. I lose my side access. Hello. Yeah, I forgot I need a space 2 blocks wide for what I want to do. 2 blocks deep. And I didn't make it deep enough, and I'm gonna actually wait for my stone while I do this. Oh, that's right, I have more copper now. And basically, one of the new mechanics they have with magma blocks and soul sand is when you're in water and there's one underneath you, they actually provide air as well as pushing you or items up or down. And you can use that to create water elevators to get actually really quickly from pretty far down to really high up. Yeah, soul sand pulls you, or pushes you up, and magma blocks pull you down. Um, which is problematic because if you stay on them too long, they also hurt you. But if it's just a momentary thing, like for an elevator, you might only take like half a heart of damage, which, as long as you're not almost dead, you're gonna recover from almost instantly. there's a another YouTube channel that I've been watching that it gives a lot of I mean they're kind of technical stuff, but for building stuff with redstone. And he is a genius when it comes to it. But he shows all his work, so even if you just keep pausing the video and just do exactly what he just said he did, you can make the thing work, which is how I have this smelting system. Yep, Mumbo. I just used one of his videos over the last few days to get this working. I had problems because it took a sticky piston, and it took me a while until I could get the slime balls that I needed. Yeah, the first thing of his that I tried was, in my last world, I made a hidden staircase in my base where I was building out an expansion. I'd been collecting a lot of axolotls, and I made an underground part of my base where the axolotls had an outside tank where they could be safe from getting attacked. They could swim through this channel into an underground passage and follow it to my bedroom in my base, which, you know, was also underground. And I had a really pretty fish tank I had made for them. And yeah, the whole thing, I mean, I wasn't trying to make it really hidden, but it was just a simple, you know, push a button, and it opened up or moved 2 squares that opened up the opening to the stairs. But I want to try to do more of his stuff to give me something to do on this here. Yeah, and yeah, I'll probably do something like it again, if I can find creatures to put in. They changed the spawn conditions for the axolotl, so they're a lot harder to come by. But if I can find them and do them again, I know now where I can go and get coral and stuff. Yeah, and I know people that do farms. Actually, I'm probably going to use some of his resource farming stuff. Like, there's one that I saw him do where he could make bamboo grow really fast, and that would feed the furnace system, which, you know, I think it's going through all this coal and lava and stuff that I've been feeding it faster than I can gather. Actually. Oh, that is unfortunate. definitely unfortunate. It turns out I cannot use the high-powered furnaces. In this design. Thought I could improve on the design by using blast furnaces, which work faster and more efficiently, but can only work with metal ore. But apparently if I do that, it completely messes up being able to feed it. Anything that's not ore. Yeah, there's also another one, I think it's a smoker, that does the same thing, except for food. But my goal was to basically just have a thing that automatically, you know, I just throw everything in that can be cooked, and the system just cooks it and then spits it out. And that seems to have not quite worked the way I had first envisioned, but this'll fix it. It just runs a little slower now. The core of this is basically just a really smart automatic feeding thing. Yeah, it actually is. The way these components are set up, it is programming. There's a timer that every few seconds, if it sees that there's items that need to be added to the smelter, it will automatically start up a minecart that sends everything in, and then also adds fuel, and then there's one cart that's always running to pick up whatever comes out of the furnaces and put them into this output box. Yeah, back when I was growing up, I used to do a lot of computer programming stuff, and I still dabble on a little bit of things, but those skills did not keep up. And that's totally fine. We've all got our different skills. Let's get turned around coming out of there. Uh-oh. Ooh, that's what I should have. I like that idea. I've had the same skin for years now. It fits my my maid motif that is completely inaccurate. I don't know that I'm actually going to be up too much tonight anymore, and it's the world is currently set up as a whitelist. Yeah, I kind of figured all that coffee is, and I'm probably gonna look at like a little bite to eat soon, and then maybe crash out myself too. Maybe if I'm lucky, I'll actually wake up at a decent time. Okay, sleep well. Um, I'll talk to you later. Maybe I'll see you on Friday. wonder if I can make this jump. Ah. No. The answer is no. That said, I'm going to go ahead and log off here for the night. Thanks for tuning in and chatting and keeping each other company. I will talk more later.